The damp, earthy scent of the forest always clung to the edges of our property, a constant, quiet invitation I used to ignore. I remember that summer afternoon when I was 13, utterly lost in the melodies I created. As I sang softly to Emily and John in our overgrown backyard, the gentle breeze carried my voice toward the dense, misty woods that loomed just beyond the fence. Their laughter echoed around me, a sweet backdrop to my song. Suddenly, my attention was drawn away from their playful giggles. A figure emerged through our old picket gate, tall and impeccably dressed in a tailored suit. I took a step back, curiosity mingling with unease as he approached with an unervingly gentle smile. My heart raced at the sight of him. He seemed almost out of place amidst the wildness surrounding us. "What brings you here?" I asked, my voice trembling slightly. "My voice is heavy," he replied, his words resonating deep within me like a strange melody that made me want to believe him instantly. There was something both beautiful and unsettling about his presence, as if he carried an air of secrets only he could share. As he gestured broadly at the ancient pines swaying gracefully in the breeze, I felt a shiver, not of fear but of profound understanding, trace its way down my spine. He spoke of nature in a way that captivated me entirely. "I keep them alive, I make them grow." The air around us shifted subtly, and I sensed a silent symphony only I seemed to perceive, a connection between him and the trees that filled me with intrigue. At that moment, curiosity propelled me closer to him. "What do you mean?" I pressed, eager for answers even though part of me hesitated. "I'm human enough to walk and work among you," he continued, his eyes glinting with something ancient and wise. "But there are other ways of being. Ways tied to the very earth beneath our feet, to the whispers in these woods." His gaze locked onto mine with an intensity that made my breath hitch. I looked around nervously at Emily and John playing in their own world, blissfully unaware of the conversation unfolding before them. The man leaned closer, his voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper that sent chills up my arms. "My people cherish artists. Especially voices like yours." His words struck me deeply, a mix of admiration and dread swirled inside me like a storm gathering strength. What did it mean for someone like him to find value in what I offered? A part of me yearned for recognition beyond this backyard realm while another part questioned whether venturing into unknown territory was wise. "What do you want from me?" The words slipped out before I could stop them. Doubt flooded my thoughts as soon as they left my lips. He straightened up slightly, exuding an aura of confidence laced with mystery. "I want nothing more than to share this gift with you," he said softly, gesturing towards the trees again as if they were alive with untold stories waiting for someone brave enough to listen. I felt torn between fear and fascination as possibilities raced through my mind. Could this stranger truly unlock something within me? Or would embracing this chance lead me down a treacherous path? My fingers brushed against the rough bark of an old tree nearby as if seeking guidance from its strength. "Come with me," he urged gently but insistently, a pull that tugged at my very core. I hesitated, uncertainty gripped my heart tightly like a vice while visions danced behind my eyelids, vibrant colors swirling through melodies echoing from depths long buried beneath layers of doubt and apathy. Yet there lay Emily's innocent laughter drifting softly on warm currents around us, the sound reminding me why I had been singing in the first place, for them, for joy amidst chaos, and perhaps finding purpose along this winding road could lead back home again someday. Suddenly emboldened by thoughts racing through my mind like wild horses galloping across open fields under bright skies untainted by shadows cast from fear alone, I stepped forward cautiously yet determinedly toward Mr. Vespers, for that was what he called himself, eager yet apprehensive about where this journey might lead us both together or apart. "I'll try," I whispered finally after what felt like hours processing all that hung between us, anticipation intermingling with trepidation painting vivid hues against muted backgrounds swirling just out of reach. But one thing remained crystal clear: stepping into whatever awaited beyond would change everything forevermore. The woods embraced me like an old friend, their whispering leaves a lullaby I couldn't resist. I remember that morning vividly. The sunlight filtered through the canopy, casting ethereal patterns on the forest floor as I walked alongside Brio. His presence was magnetic, pulling me deeper into a world that felt more real than anything I had known before. "Today, we'll sing to the trees," he declared with a grin, his enthusiasm contagious. My stomach fluttered at the thought of sharing my voice with the ancient giants. We arrived at the abandoned mill just as the sun reached its zenith. The structure stood tall and weathered, its walls worn and cracked, yet it exuded a certain charm that made my heart skip. It was our sanctuary, far from prying eyes and judgmental ears. As I stepped inside, I inhaled the scent of damp wood and rusted metal, remnants of a time long gone. "Let's begin," Brio urged, his voice low and soothing. I nodded, excitement coursing through me like electricity. He positioned himself near an open window, sunlight illuminating him like a spotlight on a stage. "Remember what we practiced," he reminded me gently. With each note that escaped my lips, I could feel the connection between me and the trees strengthen, a conversation only they could comprehend. My heart raced as my voice soared through the dilapidated space. It felt powerful enough to reach beyond time itself. Each note melded with nature's rhythm, coaxing the vines to stretch and flowers to bloom in response to my melodies. Brio listened intently, his gaze never left me as he absorbed every sound I created. After a few verses, he clapped his hands together enthusiastically. "That's it. Do you see how they respond?" The admiration in his eyes ignited something deep within me, a longing for more than just validation from someone who understood my art. "I wish they could truly hear us," I said breathlessly between songs. "They do," he replied with unwavering confidence. "You're learning to sing for them, your voice carries magic." His words wrapped around me like a warm blanket on a cold night. After our session ended, we settled down at a nearby diner for breakfast. The smell of greasy bacon and brewing coffee wafted through the air as we slid into a booth by the window. With every bite of crispy hash browns, I felt more grounded, almost normal amid our peculiar existence together. "Your parents, they're busy," Brio said thoughtfully as he sipped his coffee, steam curling above his mug like whispers of forgotten stories. "My focus is on your art, Jessica. That's a connection few understand." Hearing my name spoken so tenderly sent ripples of warmth spreading through my chest. At that moment, I nodded silently while suppressing an ache buried deep within me, the kind that longed for familial bonds yet found solace in this unique relationship instead. My heart yearned to belong somewhere holy yet resisted acknowledging how much Brio filled that void. As days turned into weeks filled with lessons in artistry and exploration of our surroundings, I discovered something powerful about myself, a voice not just meant for singing but capable of bridging worlds unknown to most people. I learned to listen, to connect not only with nature but also with Brio in ways words could hardly convey. One afternoon after another enchanting session at the mill, Brio turned serious as he looked into my eyes. "You have great potential," he declared earnestly. "But you must understand, there are consequences tied to such gifts." A knot formed in my stomach as unease crept in. What kind of consequences? The thought lingered ominously above us like dark clouds about to burst forth with rain. "What do you mean?" My voice trembled slightly as apprehension gnawed at my insides. "The powers you awaken come from deep within these woods," he explained slowly, choosing his words carefully. There are those who would seek them for themselves, who might want to control what you possess. I swallowed hard at his revelation. Images of greed and darkness danced across my mind like shadows lurking just out of sight. What had seemed innocent now felt perilous, a delicate balance between beauty and danger woven into every song I sang. I don't want anyone to take this away from me, I admitted quietly, vulnerability spilling forth as fear gripped my heart tightly. Brio leaned closer until our foreheads almost touched, his expression softened by understanding rather than fearmongering. Then promise me you'll be cautious, he urged gently but firmly. Your gift is precious, protect it fiercely. I nodded resolutely, despite uncertainty swirling inside me like autumn leaves caught in an unpredictable breeze. One thing remained clear: this journey was mine alone. The path ahead belonged solely to those willing to embrace their true selves amidst uncertainty and beauty intertwined. As time passed between lessons filled with laughter and learning about strength hidden beneath soft melodies emerged newfound resolve, the realization that maybe family wasn't confined solely by bloodlines but also shaped by shared experiences forged through artistry unlike any other. Today, when I look back on those moments spent under canopies of towering trees or within crumbling structures alive with echoes of creativity pulsing through each corner, I learned that true connections transcend societal norms defined by traditional families, instead existing freely among kindred spirits drawn together by passion alone. In embracing this truth fully opened doors leading toward horizons uncharted, an invitation extending endlessly beyond boundaries imposed upon us by circumstance or upbringing. The concert in the woods was supposed to be a triumph, a showcase of everything I'd learned with Brio. I arrived at a sun-dappled glade, surrounded by towering trees that whispered secrets in the breeze. My heart raced with anticipation, a rush of nerves and exhilaration as I stood before Brio's friends. Their unervingly keen eyes watched my every move, and I could feel the weight of their expectations pressing against me. I took a deep breath and began to sing. The notes flowed from my lips like silver ribbons, shimmering in the air as they entwined with the rustling leaves. The world around me faded into a blur. It was just me and the music in that moment. As I sang, I allowed myself to believe that this was my place, my purpose, to connect with nature through my voice. Suddenly, a strikingly tall woman stepped forward from the gathering. Her presence commanded attention, and when she smiled, it felt like the crack of ice breaking beneath my feet. I swallowed hard as she took my hand. "Tell me, Toddlet," she asked, her voice smooth yet chilling, "have you ever experienced heartbreak? Not melancholy, not gloom, but true, genuine heartbreak?" Her gaze felt invasive, peeling back layers of my soul I didn't want exposed. I hesitated for a moment. Her question struck too close to home. Memories of loneliness washed over me like an unwanted tide. "Not really," I managed to stammer out, but my voice faltered under her intense scrutiny. Brio's friend chuckled softly from the shadows of the trees. "She'll surpass you in no time, Brio," he remarked with an unsettling grin. "Her voice is so youthful and lively." Glancing at Brio, I saw something shift in his expression. The pride that had once danced in his eyes curdled into something cold and sharp. A knot formed in my stomach as dread washed over me inexplicably. I told myself that it was just a compliment, a simple acknowledgement of talent, but that tiny worm of doubt gnawed at me relentlessly. A chill swept through the air as polite applause erupted from the gathered figures around us. Their hands clapped together rhythmically but lacked warmth. It felt more like an obligation than genuine appreciation. Brio stepped closer to me, his demeanor suddenly serious. "You must understand," he said quietly enough for only me to hear. "These beings have seen much, far more than we can comprehend." His tone sent shivers down my spine, the glimmer of something untrustworthy flickered behind his eyes. "What do you mean?" My voice trembled slightly as confusion surged within me. Was this all truly what it seemed? Had I stumbled into something far beyond mere art? The tall woman stepped closer again and leaned down until her face was just inches from mine. "You may have your gift," she said softly yet firmly, "but gifts come at a price." Her smile faded into a thin line as she gauged my response. My breath caught in my throat as fear coiled around me like ivy constricting its prey. I wanted to pull away but found myself rooted to the spot, trapped within her gaze like an insect ensnared in a web. "Brio," I began hesitantly but faltered under her penetrating stare. "Focus on your song," he urged gently but firmly, almost too quickly dismissing what had transpired between us moments before. With resolve pooling inside me despite lingering unease, I turned back toward the glade and began again, a melody cascading through trembling branches overhead like droplets after rain. This time though, there was something different in how they listened. It wasn't just an audience, they hungered for each note, they craved more than mere entertainment. As I poured myself into each lyric and refrain, shadows danced along the edges of my vision, figures shifting restlessly among trees too thick to pierce with light. The ground beneath felt alive beneath my feet, roots twisted upward as if yearning for connection while branches swayed hypnotically above us all, a living audience participating in this shared moment. A sudden gust swept through the glade just as I reached what should have been the climactic peak of my performance. It sent chills racing across my skin like whispers from unseen mouths brushing against me gently yet insistently urging caution. Brio's friends watched intently, eyes gleaming with an otherworldly intensity that made every heartbeat echo louder within my chest. One even stepped forward almost reluctantly, an intricate tapestry woven across his chest glinting where light met shadow beautifully reminding me of summer sunsets fading toward dusk. Then came their applause, not mere clapping but rather resonating vibrations filling every crevice around us. It wrapped around me like an embrace strung tight enough to hold yet soft enough not to crush altogether, a paradoxical harmony resonating deeply within this enchanted atmosphere crafted by voices entwined throughout time itself. Still feeling unsettled by everything unfolding around us yet emboldened by their reaction, I pushed myself further with each verse trying desperately not to lose sight amid conflicting emotions brewing beneath surface tension rising steadily between melody and silence alike. Yet somewhere deep down inside, a persistent seedling of trepidation sprouted uninvited. How many others before had stood here singing their hearts out only to slip away into obscurity or worse? Just then, the tall woman's sharp laughter sliced through my thoughts like glass shattering against stone, as if sensing any doubt lurking below fragile facade I'd constructed carefully over these past weeks. It jolted me back into reality, forcing clarity where confusion threatened control once more. "Such potential you possess," she exclaimed wickedly before turning on her heel dramatically drawing attention away from musical notes dancing still upon breathless air lingering long after final echoes faded away slowly into shadows cast throughout woods surrounding us both magically silent yet potent. At that moment, I realized nothing would remain untouched anymore. Dread seeped deeper while tangled beauty intertwined. My heart surged anxiously knowing whatever bond formed here might come fraught with consequences unforeseen. In all honesty, I wanted nothing more than acceptance, even if fleeting, but now uncertainty loomed larger than ever before casting long shadows over future songs unsung ahead waiting patiently somewhere between hope and despair. The rain drummed against the window of my tiny shared apartment, a relentless percussion that matched the turmoil in my mind. I was stirring instant ramen in a pot, the steam rising and curling around me like a warm embrace. But then, a sudden, violent crash from my bedroom shattered the fragile peace I had cultivated. My blood ran cold as terror seized me, flooding my veins with adrenaline. I dropped the spoon and gripped my phone tightly in one hand while reaching for a chef's knife with the other. Heart hammering against my ribs, I crept toward the door, every step feeling like wading through molasses. The darkness of the hallway loomed ahead, amplifying my unease as I silently cursed myself for not locking the door. Just as I reached for the doorknob, it burst open with a force that sent me stumbling backward. A desperate-looking young man lunged at me, his eyes wild and filled with panic. He knocked me hard against the hardwood floor, and I gasped for air as it was forcibly expelled from my lungs. "Get off me!" I gasped out, struggling to push him away. He held me down firmly, his grip like iron as fear radiated off him in waves. "I owe Brio Vespers," he gritted out between labored breaths. "He made me come here. He said I had to get rid of you." The way he spoke, raw and strained, echoed my own inner turmoil. My heart raced faster than ever before, every instinct screamed at me to escape this confrontation. "What are you talking about?" I demanded, squirming beneath him while trying to find leverage. The sound of rain pounding against the windows seemed to fade into the background, a distant memory compared to this immediate threat. "I have no choice." His eyes darted around frantically as if searching for salvation or an exit that didn't exist. "Brio said, he said you're dangerous." Panic seeped into his words like poison. Dangerous? The word hung heavy in the air between us, a bitter irony considering how powerless I felt pinned beneath his weight. "I don't even know who you are. Why would Brio want me gone?" With every ounce of strength I could muster, I kicked out against him, connecting hard with his side. It caught him off guard just long enough for me to shift beneath him and gain some ground. My heart thudded in a frantic rhythm as I managed to roll us over. Now it was his back against the floor. "Who are you?" I shouted again, forcing him to look at me as fear and confusion swirled in his eyes. His breath came out ragged and uneven as he struggled beneath me. "I'm just someone trying to survive." The rawness of his admission struck a chord deep within me. We were both trapped by forces beyond our control. I released my hold on him momentarily, catching my breath while sizing up this intruder who had invaded my sanctuary. My instincts screamed for caution. Every story Brio told about those connected to him flooded back into my thoughts like an unwelcome tide. "Why did Brio send you?" I pressed again, voice trembling but determined not to show weakness. He said your voice is too powerful," he whispered hoarsely, eyes wide with something akin to awe mixed with fear. At that moment, realization washed over me like ice water dousing a flame. The connection between this man and Brio twisted deeper than mere admiration. It felt darker and far more sinister than I'd ever comprehended before. "What does that mean?" "Your songs, they stir things," he replied slowly, forcing each word through clenched teeth as if they pained him. "Brio thinks you're going to draw attention, dangerous attention." His admission sent chills racing down my spine as dread twisted its way around my heart like an iron chain tightening with each beat. Had all those moments spent lost in song been leading to something terrible? Something that could endanger not just myself but everyone around me? "You can't take that away from me." My voice rose in fervor despite knowing how ludicrous it sounded amidst this chaos. In an instant of desperation fueled by adrenaline coursing through both our veins, I pivoted again, shoving myself upward while pushing him aside forcefully enough that he stumbled back into the wall behind us. Before he could regain composure or retaliate further, something inside surged forth, a primal instinct urging me forward instead of retreating into fear's cold embrace. "Listen." My voice broke through the tension hanging heavily in the air between us like thunderclouds ready to burst. "If Brio wanted you to hurt me, then what does that say about him? You're not just some mindless pawn. The look on his face shifted slightly, doubt flickered behind those terrified eyes momentarily overshadowing desperation's hold on him entirely. I don't want this either. His tone softened significantly even though vulnerability clashed against whatever remnants of bravado remained within him. Forcing myself to breathe deeply amidst escalating chaos around us, the pounding rain outside mirrored tumult inside, I sensed an opportunity blooming between us where moments before only hostility thrived. We both want survival, I urged gently yet firmly while keeping vigilance over each movement made by both parties involved here tonight, a potential ally waiting behind layers of fear wrapped tight around uncertainty regarding loyalties forged under darker circumstances than either could comprehend fully yet still hold fast onto hope amidst shadows lingering nearby. What if we worked together? The suggestion rolled off my tongue almost effortlessly despite all trepidations lingering behind it, a whisper amid tensions thickening swiftly around us. He blinked at this unexpected proposition. Surprise etched across features previously locked tight under pressure turned fierce desperation now shifting toward cautious contemplation instead. Perhaps there was still light breaking through darkness if only we dared reach toward each other within unknown territories ahead where paths intertwined unexpectedly under circumstances neither planned nor anticipated originally. As raindrops danced against window panes mercilessly demanding recognition while thunder rumbled softly overhead, as though nature herself bore witness, one undeniable fact remained clear: our shared fate now lay intertwined whether we liked it or not. The apartment felt like a cage, cluttered with remnants of shattered trust. I sat amidst the shards of glass, the edges glistening ominously around me, while the young man's words echoed in my mind. He said I had to get rid of you. That realization struck me like a physical blow. Brio's true malice unraveled before me, and I recoiled as the pieces fell into place. My heart hammered in my chest as I grasped how foolish I had been to view him as a mentor. At that moment, memories cascaded through my mind, each compliment he offered, every lesson he imparted. They morphed from gifts into calculated investments, twisted and sickening in retrospect. The warmth of his praise was nothing more than bait to cultivate my trust. My stomach churned with betrayal, and I couldn't help but think about the tall woman's chilling question regarding heartbreak. Now, I understood it fully. This wasn't the vague melancholy I had dismissed earlier but a raw, searing pain that sliced through me with every recollection. I remembered our first meeting at the mill. Brio stood there with an inviting smile, and I had thought he saw something special in me. But now? The truth clawed at my insides like an angry beast. He wasn't teaching me, he was cultivating me, an investment meant to secure his own position while managing a potential threat. My mind raced through the implications of that realization, filling me with cold fury. It felt righteous and necessary, it fueled my resolve as I pulled myself off the floor. I picked up a broken piece of glass from among the debris, its sharp edge glinting under the dim light of the room. For a fleeting moment, I caught my reflection within it, distorted yet resolute. Strength surged through me as I stared at that fragile figure staring back. This was not who Brio would mold anymore. The shadows of his manipulation faded as clarity emerged from confusion. "I'm done being your puppet," I whispered fiercely to no one in particular, my voice trembling with conviction. Each word reverberated off the walls like an incantation breaking a spell. The fear that once wrapped around me dissipated into determination. Pushing against the heaviness in my chest, I forced myself to step away from the wreckage surrounding me and move toward the door. With each stride across the scattered glass pieces, I felt empowered rather than vulnerable. This space could no longer hold any power over me. Outside, the evening air was crisp against my skin, clearing away remnants of despair from inside. The fading light painted everything in hues of gold and amber while shadows stretched long across the street, a stark contrast to what had just occurred within those four walls. At that moment, everything felt possible again. I took a deep breath and walked forward into uncertainty but with purpose, every step pushing away self-doubt along with Brio's grip on my life. My heart beat steadily now, it thrummed with newfound strength rather than panic. It was time to reclaim what had been lost. Turning down a familiar path toward the woods brought mixed emotions flooding back, exhilaration at being free and dread for what awaited ahead if I chose to confront Brio again. As trepidation danced in my gut, determination anchored me firmly on this journey toward reclaiming myself. Suddenly, inspiration struck like lightning igniting tinder. What if others were still ensnared by his charm? What if they too needed rescuing? A surge of compassion pushed aside any lingering fears as thoughts raced through my mind. Reaching a spot where trees intertwined high above creating a tapestry against twilight's embrace made everything feel right again. The calmness washing over me felt like reassurance from nature itself. In that sacred space beneath their boughs brimming with potential energy waiting to be harnessed through music or voice, it was here I could gather strength from every branch swaying gently in rhythm and share it with those whom Brio had failed. I couldn't simply move on alone. There had to be something more than revenge simmering beneath this dark facade. A plan began to take shape as urgency grew within me, a mission not merely for personal salvation but for restoring balance within our community ripped apart by manipulation. Setting off deeper into those woods felt like stepping onto hallowed ground. Echoes lingered softly beneath every footfall, a reminder of what once thrived here amidst whispers exchanged freely among friends without fear or judgment. Together, I murmured fervently to myself as determination strengthened each word spoken aloud into existence, the promise igniting hope anew. In this woodland realm where shadows melted away under golden sunlight filtering through leaves above, I saw beauty intertwined with resilience waiting patiently for its chance to emerge once more. All it needed was someone willing enough to breathe life back into forgotten melodies. Today marked not just an escape from betrayal but also a rebirth, a commitment carved deep into my soul reminding me that nothing can ever truly sever ties formed by love unblemished by deceit. As night crept closer and darkness wrapped around everything like an embracing cloak, I stood taller than ever before ready for whatever lay ahead while bringing light back where it belonged, among all those silenced souls yearning for freedom. This was only just beginning. The stage was set, a vibrant tapestry of lights illuminating the Arkham Summer Fest, pulsing with the energy of the crowd that surged like an eager tide. I stood backstage, my heart racing in sync with the chaotic rhythm of excitement and anticipation that enveloped me. The scent of sweat and adrenaline filled the air, merging with the distant sounds of laughter and music. This was my moment, a chance to reclaim what had been taken from me. At that moment, I could feel the weight of countless eyes waiting for me to step into the light. My fingers tightened around the microphone, its cool surface grounding me as I prepared to unleash everything inside. Brio wanted me dead? He'd better get his soft hands dirty himself. There was no way I was letting him win. My throat constricted with each breath, but I pushed through, summoning every ounce of defiance coursing through my veins. As I stepped out onto that stage, a wave of noise crashed over me, cheers and applause engulfed my senses. The sea of faces blurred together in a kaleidoscope of hope and expectation. For once in my life, I wasn't just someone's puppet, I was here to be heard. Every note I had practiced flooded back to me, a memory igniting within me like fire. I took a deep breath and began to sing Green Sleeves, pouring every ounce of hurt and anger into those haunting melodies. My voice soared through the open-air venue, reverberating off the walls like echoes from ancient trees in the woods. Each note spilled forth not just as sound but as an anthem of reclamation, transforming sorrow into strength. As I sang about lost love and heartbreak, each lyric resonated deeply within me, an exorcism of all that Brio had tried to instill in my mind: doubt, fear, compliance. My voice boomed across the expanse, an unstoppable force carving out space for my truth amidst a cacophony of noise. And then it happened. As I reached the climax of my performance, I scanned the crowd for familiar faces when suddenly my breath caught in my throat. There he stood, Brio Vespers, unnaturally still amidst the swirling chaos around him. His gaze locked onto mine across that vast distance, sending a jolt through my body that felt like ice water coursing through my veins. A chill ran down my spine at that moment. Recognition washed over me like a tidal wave crashing onto shore, but instead of succumbing to fear or despair, I felt something entirely different: resolve. This was not merely a performance, it was a declaration, my silent challenge against his lingering influence in my life. The final notes echoed out into the night sky as if lingering on purpose before they faded away into silence. The cheers erupted around me, a cacophony embracing every ounce of courage and vulnerability poured into those words sung from deep within my soul. I stood tall on stage amidst roaring applause but kept my focus locked on him, the man who had tried to manipulate and control me. In that moment where time seemed suspended between us, I met his stare with fierce determination, a silent declaration that this voice was no longer his to control. As Brio's expression shifted from surprise to something darker, a hint of menace lurking behind his composure, I knew then that this confrontation would not end here. It would only evolve into something more profound than mere manipulation or revenge. With adrenaline coursing through my body from both exhilaration and tension crackling between us, I took one last look at him before stepping back from the microphone stand, not retreating but asserting myself further into this new reality where fear held no dominion over me any longer. The crowd continued their cheers, but beneath their joy lay something deeper. Unseen connections formed through shared struggles against adversity shared amongst those gathered here tonight. The realization hit hard. It wasn't just about reclaiming myself anymore, it was about giving strength back to those who couldn't speak up. As music faded into murmurs around me, a promise anchored itself deep within as conviction settled like dew upon grass at dawn: this path forward would not just be mine alone. Stepping off stage propelled by newfound purpose, I glanced back once more at Brio standing unwavering like stone amidst flowing water. His presence felt simultaneously threatening yet oddly reassuring too, because now he could never silence what had been awakened. With each footfall leading away from performance grounds, I embraced every whisper surrounding me, guiding towards future possibilities ahead. It became clear we were on this journey together, voices rising harmoniously against silence created by manipulation. Together we would break free. And so began an adventure steeped in hope, the kind forged through melodies sung unafraid, echoing loud enough for all who needed it. Here beneath stars witnessing victories untold, the story only just started unfolding, a movement waiting patiently ripe for discovery. I stood at the edge of the misty Arkham forest, the air thick with damp earth and the ghost of old magic lingering in the atmosphere. The towering trees beckoned to me as they had countless times before, their branches swaying gently in the evening breeze. But now, a stark awareness filled my mind, a recognition of their true master. I had danced along this boundary too many times, enchanted by the allure of whispers that called my name. Yet today was different. Listening closely, I could hear it, his voice deep and resonant, echoing through the thicket like an eerie song that once felt comforting but now sent shivers down my spine. It was a haunting melody, reverberating through my very bones, reminding me of Brio's lingering presence and his twisted influence over my life. A chill ran through me as I realized how close I had come to losing myself entirely within those enchanting notes. I didn't step into the woods this time. Instead, I chose to remain at the boundary, drawing a line not just in dirt but deep within my soul. That line separated my future from his shadow, a boundary forged from pain yet illuminated by newfound strength. My heart raced as I contemplated what lay beyond those familiar trees. The remnants of fear faded behind me like autumn leaves scattering in the wind. Walking away from that threshold felt liberating. Each step resonated with purpose. No longer did I chase an echo of Brio's twisted melody. Instead, I forged my own path under the fading light, an act of defiance against his attempts to control me. My voice was mine alone now, the power within it surged like a raging river breaking free from constraints. In that moment, standing there amidst the encroaching dusk, I embraced a revelation: my strength was mine to wield. With every stride away from that cursed forest, I could feel chains shattering and a new identity taking form, a voice eager to rise above all that had tried to silence it. The thrill coursed through me as adrenaline mingled with hope. Even if my bad moments still haunted me like shadows at twilight, they would no longer define who I was. As darkness enveloped everything around me like a heavy cloak, images of laughter and camaraderie flickered through my mind, memories etched in warmth rather than fear. I recalled Chloe's innocent giggles and Tyler's boundless energy. Their joy had become my anchor when everything else felt tumultuous. This journey was not merely about reclaiming myself but about nurturing those bonds that had been strained under Brio's influence. I reached a small clearing where wildflowers bloomed defiantly against encroaching darkness, their vibrant colors painting a stark contrast against the looming shadows of trees surrounding them. My breath caught in awe as their resilience mirrored my own. These flowers thrived despite adversity, much like my spirit had begun to do. Together, I murmured softly into the night air, an affirmation not just for myself but for all those who craved freedom from manipulation. Each syllable resonated within me like an incantation woven into existence, an acknowledgement that our voices mattered more than ever. With renewed determination burning brightly inside me, I began to sing softly, each note rising up like smoke spiraling toward starlit skies above. It became both an offering and a declaration: we would no longer be silenced. As melodies escaped my lips freely under moonlight's gentle gaze, a symphony composed not out of fear but defiance, the world around me transformed into something beautiful. As echoes traveled farther than ever before, I imagined others joining in this newfound chorus. Those still lost among shadows desperately seeking solace would find us here beneath these stars, tangled together by shared experiences where hope intertwined with raw emotion. My heart swelled with pride at this thought: we were reclaiming what belonged to us. At last reaching deeper into those woods felt freeing. Stepping forward turned into something sacred, a promise made not only for myself but all those who struggled silently amidst chaos inflicted upon them. Here we would nurture each other's wounds until healing blossomed beautifully like wildflowers finding light despite adversity looming nearby. Today marked more than just survival, it marked rebirth. No longer shackled by past fears nor burdened by self-doubt, I breathed deeply knowing this journey ahead bore infinite possibilities awaiting discovery. Looking up at twinkling stars sprinkled across night sky, it struck me how they too once battled darkness yet emerged triumphant, shining brightly against vast expanse. Finally realizing this wasn't merely about facing Brio anymore, it was about embracing every facet of who we were, unafraid. With every heartbeat echoing louder than before, my resolve strengthened, transforming doubt into fierce determination. This path forward belonged solely to us, to unite voices silenced long ago, celebrating freedom found through music woven tightly together, creating harmony amongst chaos. As night pressed on, enveloping everything in its embrace, I took one last look toward those misty woods filled with memories both bittersweet yet enlightening. They held lessons learned shaping who I had become. Today unveiled possibilities unbound and futures unchained waiting patiently for us all.